In the heart of the canopy, where light dapples the ancient stone, the kingdom welcomes its newest subject, not with fanfare, but with a quiet, formidable grace. Here, on a sun-warmed rock, a mother rests. Her name is Spring, and she has just given birth. Spring is no ordinary member of the troop. Dot. Hers is a face etched with the lines of command, a posture that speaks of inherent authority. She is, in every sense that matters here, the queen, the female king. Her gaze is fierce, her presence an electric field that dictates the space around her. And now, in this most vulnerable of moments, the aftermath of birth, her power is more palpable than ever. She sits not in a hidden nest, but on this open stage of stone, presenting her newborn to the world on its very first day. This is her first lesson to her child. This is your world. Observe. The tiny infant, a mere scrap of fur and instinct, squirms against the solid rock. Spring does not coddle it in the shadows. She places it on the stone, allowing the cool, unyielding reality of its home to seep in. She is allowing her baby to learn to explore, to fumble, to discover the most vital geography it will ever know, the path to nourishment, to the warmth of her breast. Watch. The little one struggles, its limbs still unsure of their purpose. It pushes up, its head wobbling, and for the first time, its eyes, dark pools of pure sensation, look out, not with recognition, but with wonder. A silent, profound wonder at the blur of green, the dance of light, the immense breathing entity that is the forest. And Spring. One hand, a large, leathery palm, rests protectively on her child's back. The other brings food to her mouth. She is replenishing. This is a dual act of sovereignty, commanding the space while performing the fundamental duty of motherhood. She lost strength to bring this life forth. Now, she quietly, methodically, takes it back from the earth. The rest of the troop forms a living perimeter around the rock dot. They sit at a respectful, unquestionable distance. There are no joyful mobs, no curious aunts jostling for a peek. This is Spring's domain, and her rule is absolute. Not even her own mother would dare approach without permission. They sit in a circle of quiet observance, their bodies turned towards her, yet held back by an invisible barrier of deference and, perhaps, fear. After a long, quiet period of nursing, Spring moves. It is a deliberate, stately migration. She gathers her baby close to her chest, the infant now a small, sleeping bulge against her fur, and descends from the rock. The troop members in her path subtly shift, creating a corridor. She walks to a large, clear pond, drinks deeply, her reflection, a regal, tired face, breaking and reforming in the water, and then moves to a shaded spot to sit among them. But among is a relative term. She is a stone in a stream. The others flow around her, never touching. They sit close, yet an inch of charged space remains. No one dares to groom her, to offer the social bonding of a gentle touch. She is untouchable. Her isolation is not one of rejection, but of elevation. Here, in the new shade, her little one stirs and nurses again. Spring sits in a pool of quiet, her eyes half closed. This is her respite, a claimed moment of peace, where the only demand is the gentle, rhythmic pull of her child. And then, other members' presence. A monkey named Brooker edges into the frame of Spring's solitude. Brooker is known in the troop for a particular troublesome passion. She is a kidnapper, a snatcher of infants, drawn to newborns with an irresistible urge to hold them, to carry them off, often sending mothers into paroxysms of anxiety. Brooker's approach now is a study in caution. She does not look directly at Spring. She presents her side, she lowers her body, she makes soft, submissive noises. She is petitioning for an audience, and something remarkable happens. Spring, the fierce queen, gives the slightest tilt of her head, a barely perceptible softening of her gaze. Permission is granted. Brooker, the mischievous one, does not reach for the baby. Instead, she begins to gently groom Spring's back. She picks through her fur with focused care. This is not kidnapping. This is service. This is the troublemaker paying homage, and Spring accepts it. She closes her eyes fully, her body relaxing into the ministrations. For a moment, the formidable mask slips, and we see simply a mother, exhausted, receiving a rare gift of care from her community. She eats again, her movements languid. Brooker grooms with dedicated fervor, as if understanding the privilege of this proximity. The dynamic is peaceful, almost tender. Then, as quietly as she arrived, Brooker finishes and slips away. The interlude of connection is over. Spring is alone again with her infant, but perhaps a fraction more at ease. She now turns her full attention to her baby, examining every tiny finger, smoothing its fur with a tenderness that contrasts utterly with her public fierceness. She holds it, and they both drift into a light, guarded sleep, a single entity of trust in the heart of the troop. The afternoon sun shifts. Spring moves once more, a slow procession through her realm. Her arrival at a new resting spot sends subtle ripples of tension through the group. Some members, unable to bear the pressure of her proximity, simply get up and move to a farther corner. They would rather displace themselves than risk her displeasure. One monkey, however, holds her ground, but barely. This is Scarlet, an elder, her fur tinged with grey, her body heavy with a pregnancy nearing its end. She knows the rules better than anyone. She knows that a queen's mood is law, and that a new mother, especially one as powerful as Spring, is unpredictable. If Spring does not allow it, proximity can mean pain. Scarlet sits perfectly still, her eyes averted, licking her lips, a classic sign of simian anxiety. She is a portrait of fear, pretending to be a statue. Spring ignores her. Instead, she glances at a younger, stronger female sitting nearby. She gives a low, clear grunt. It is not a request. It is a summons. The younger monkey understands immediately. She approaches and, without hesitation, begins to massage Spring's shoulders and back. There is no argument, no reluctance. It is a duty. And so, Spring receives another tribute. She closes her eyes, surrendering to the sensation. Behind her, the young female works. few feet away, old Scarlet feigns sleep, trapped in her own cautious inertia. The contrast is stark. The one who serves by command, and the one who, by fear or wisdom, chooses not to engage at all. Spring, in the middle, takes her comfort where it is offered, on her own absolute terms. Rested, Spring seeks out a different kind of company. She carries her baby to where another new mother sits. Nanda, whose own infant is perhaps 6 days old. Here the dynamics shift again. Nanda is not a subject in the same way. She is a fellow mother, deep in her own tunnel of care. She offers no massage, no special deference beyond the usual respect. She is focused on her own tiny charge, teaching it to pluck insects from bark. Her world contracted to the space between her hands. Spring sits beside her, not as a queen, but perhaps as a colleague. She watches Nanda's child. It is only a handful of days older than her own, but the difference is profound. It can already wobble on its feet, take shaky steps. Yet Nanda is ever vigilant, a tether always connected, a hand on a leg, a finger curled around the base of the tiny tail. Freedom is granted in millimeters. Spring looks at her own sleeping infant, then at Nanda's exploring one. There is a quiet learning happening here, for her, a preview of tomorrow and the day after. After a while, Nanda simply gets up and leaves, absorbed in her own journey. Spring is left alone once more, watching her own baby now awaken. It looks around, its eyes capturing new shapes, its ears twitching at new sounds. The rustle of a lizard, the call of a specific bird. Its education has begun. As the golden light of late afternoon filters through the leaves, Spring makes her final move of the day. She carries her baby up into the embrace of a large gnarled tree, where several troop members are settling in for the evening. Here, in the cradle of the branches, she does something new. She doesn't just hold her child, she places it on the limb before her, her arms forming a protective circle. She is teaching it to feel the tree, to understand that this, too, is home. The infant clutches at the bark, attempts a crawl, its miniature hands grasping. Spring watches, her eyes missing nothing. Here, among the others, she allows a slightly closer communion. Soft grunts are exchanged. She is, in her own way, reintroducing herself to the troop, now as a mother of two. The social fabric, stretched taut by the day's events, begins to relax slightly around her. The first day closes. The tiny infant, exhausted by a universe of new sensations, nuzzles deep into Spring's chest. She wraps her arms around it, her fierce gaze finally softening as she looks down at the sleeping face. The troop grows quiet around them, a constellation of shadows in the gathering dusk. For Spring, the Queen, the journey of motherhood has begun anew under the watchful eyes of her kingdom. It was a day of absolute power, of unexpected tenderness, of silent lessons taught on sun-warmed stone. It was a day of isolation, and yet profound connection. Tomorrow will bring new stories. The baby will grow stronger. Challenges will arise, perhaps from Brooker's impulses or Scarlett's own impending birth. Lessons in climbing, its social boundaries, and the delicate balance of fear and respect that defines Spring's world. But for now, there is only this, a mother and her child under the first stars of the infant's life. The rule of Spring continues, its newest chapter breathing softly against her heart.